Maybe 574. Oh man, I'm losing count of some of these. But today we're going through the 39, what I'm calling our sparks. I originally bought the 39 triggers from Tai Lopez. Great marketer. I mean, he tells a story about how one ad made him like over $100 million over his lifetime. Insane. But I also wanted to understand, how do you do that, right? And sometimes you have to understand from folks, like, what are they doing that's triggering. And this is why I call it sparks instead of triggers, because usually if you want to make a difference, you have to, eh, eh, right? What sales? Some people say, oh, it's like building a relationship, it's education, it's all these things. But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is that you are inspiring change. And for you to inspire change, you have to spark something, in my opinion, right? So if you ever wonder why some people always, why do they always get a yes in life, right? Today I want to talk about the 39 very powerful sparks that's going to help you master the art of influence, whether it's making sales, building a business, building a relationship, and most importantly, these are lessons that I want to make sure I'm leaving for my kids. And that's why I welcome any feedback, because I'm just trying to become a better father. That's it. I want them to be able to get all the life lessons from hundreds and thousands of hours that I spend improving myself, and see if they can just get it all in one go. So that's why I do this, right? So that all of our kids can benefit from this. Now, let's talk about the 39 triggers that Tai Lopez talk about. Again, I call them sparks, but you don't need all 39 in one pitch or one product, or one conversation, even, right? You have to understand, the key is understanding that different triggers, different sparks work better in different situations, different contexts, different personality types, even, right? Most importantly, you got to understand how to read the person that you're working with. So keep these triggers handy, right? Learn when to apply them, especially depending on the person, the situation. Some of them will naturally complement each other, but let's get right into it. Again, some of these sparks, I'm going to reword them a little bit, come up with different analogies, but in concept, they're almost the same, right? In concept, but I'm going to rename them differently. But I'm going to use a analogy that even a fifth grader can understand. Because what's the point of knowing all this information if you can't share it with your kids? And if you can't explain it simple enough, that doesn't work. So this is why I really want to do it. This is how I master things. Learning how to teach it is how I master all of these concepts. All right. So let's talk about number one, scarcity. Scarcity means that people want things more when there isn't much of them, right? Imagine you are at a dinner party and there's only one cookie left, right, for all the kids. Well, now all of a sudden, all the kids are going to want it because this is the last cookie, right? You ever try to pry away the only cookie that's available from your kid to try to give to another kid? That everybody wants it, right? And in business, you can create that sense of scarcity with limited time offers. With let's talk about Black Friday deal, right? I mean, that's a scarcity. Like once you sell out on that day, and makes products seem scarce, people act quickly. They buy your sales. Just like with Chanel handbags, right? When you go to a store, they're like, "Oh no, we only have one," or they will say, "Oh no, we don't know what we're gonna get in." Right? So it seems scarce, even though you know that a company could make more if they really wanted to, but they don't, and that creates scarcity, and that drives up the value. Very interesting, right? This applies in all aspects of life. So learn how to make scarcity applicable for whatever you're selling, whatever service you're providing, whatever product you're selling. Second spark, social proof. People trust things that others trust, right? You ever go on a roller coaster and think, "Oh wow, all this people is lying for a roller coaster, so it must be safe," right? You didn't do the inspection, right? Or maybe you go to a restaurant and you see a line out the door and you And then you must think, hey, that must restaurant must be good because everybody else seems to like it. Everybody else is lining up for it, right? Or maybe as a kid, you just go to the playground and then you see a water slide or a just regular slide. Who cares? That has the longest line because everybody seems to like it. So in business, that's the same thing. That's why you see reviews, Yelp, testimonials, right? Those are the folks that influences customers that they're making a popular and a trusted choice because they must be thinking, hey, if all these people trust it, they must believe it. All right. Spark number three, authority. We listen to people who know a lot about something, right? You ever try to tell your kid to do something and they don't do it? And you had to say, hey, you have to brush your teeth because the dentist says so. And in the kid's mind, they trust the dentist. They believe the dentist because they have an authority. They have a white lab coat, right? If you need help with math homework, you probably trust your teacher because they are the expert. They're good at teaching. And that's the same thing in business, right? When you have experts, when you have doctors, when you have CEOs, when you have influencers, right? They boost the confidence in your products and your services. When you mention those qualifications, when you use experts in how you market things and explain the benefits, people trust you more, right? Number four, spark number four, rewards, right? People are biased towards rewards. We all love rewards, right? If you are promising, let's say you're getting, I don't know, your daughter French fries for finishing the work or going to take a bath on time, right? Or maybe you say, hey, you can go play games after your homework is done. You're probably going to work hard to get it. Professionally in business, when you offer incentives like bonuses, discounts, reward programs, that attracts customers, that motivates your employees. All that stuff matters. They all complement each other. So just think about your incentive very, very carefully. All right. Number five, let's talk about sparks by association, right? Conditioning, repetition. When you go, I have a dog at home. So every single time I go to the door and I grab a leash, our dog gets excited. They run straight to the door because when they see you grab the leash, even when I start putting on clothes near the door, they're expecting to go for a walk and they get really excited. That repetition, that amount of conditioning your customers, that's how you build a strong brand, right? When you are consistently associating yourself with positive experiences, authority, education, right? People are going to associate you with that thing if you repeat it. Just remember, no one knows who you are, what you do, where you're from. They care a lot more about what you can do for them, but they only understand what you can do for them and they will only trust you if you consistently show up for them. Consistently. If you think you're all talk, they're not going to believe you. Simple as that, right? All right, let's keep going. Spark number six, right? Again, I'm talking about sparks because it makes people want to do a change. And sometimes a sale is just a change, right? You are changing something in your life. You are exchanging value for a product, for a service, for a change that you expect to be positive in most situations, right? So, reciprocation. If someone gives you something nice, right? You feel like doing something nice back for them. It's not like you feel like you owe them, but it's human nature. It's been studied. Imagine your friend lets you borrow a amazing toy. Then you're gonna feel like, hey, why don't you play with my favorite toy too? Because I get to play with their toy. It's so cool, right? Or someone lends you their video games and you're like, oh, I'll play with my video games too. Let's do it. Right. This is natural human behavior. Right. In a professional, when you give free trials, when you give free samples, this really encourages the customer to return the favor. That's why in food courts, you see people handing out samples sometimes because they're like, oh, I tasted this seems pretty good. I want it. It's not just for the sample, it's also reciprocity. All right. Think about it. Spark number seven, commitment and consistency, right? People tend to stick with decisions they've already made, right? It takes a lot to make them change. When you know what your favorite sport is, you keep playing because you want to stay consistent, right? In businesses, they typically ask for small commitments first, right? Sometimes it's very hard to make people change. So they will just say, hey, why don't you join my email list? Why don't you subscribe? Why don't you follow me online? Because when you step into it and makes those bigger commitments, if it's a large investment on their part to, let's say, buy your course, they have to understand, hey, what have you done for me? Demonstrate the value that you're going to give for me. Demonstrate it. Don't just tell me what you're going to do. Show me. All right. Now, spark number 8, contrast bias. We judge things based on comparison, right? If you're a kid and you eat 10 pieces of broccoli first and then you have chocolate, that chocolate's going to taste really good afterwards, right? Candy, whatever it is. So sometimes when people, this is why people make like the small, medium, large Starbucks size offerings, right? When you show expensive options first, or you show the expensive options, sometimes it makes those lower price choices seem like better deals by comparison, right? It will make them seem that, oh, that has the better value. Happens all the time. It makes the customer feel like they got you. Think about it. All right. Spark number 9. People call this the likeness, right? People tend to do business with a know, like, and trust. If your best friend asks you to borrow a game, you're probably going to say yes. If it's a stranger that you have no idea with that you don't like, or maybe it's your the bully at school, you're not going to be nice to them, right? This same thing happens in business, in your professional relationships, right? That's why they have whole companies just dedicated to relationships. Because when you care, when you're friendly, when you go above and beyond and show people you care, that's when people buy from brands. That's when people trust that brand. Right? You talk about the best return policies in some companies, everybody knows about those best return policies. And people buy feeling at ease when they go to a certain store. They might pay more for that premium, for that peace of mind. It happens all the time. All right. Spark number 10, availability. We value things more if they seem easily remembered or easily available, right? If you see ads everywhere for a movie, you're going to think it's popular. You're going to want to watch it. If you are trying to get a hair appointment, right? I saw this on, well, I think it was Layla Homolzi's podcast where she thought about, hey, she's in Newtown and she wants to get a haircut, but she sees that, hey, the top rated one, you call them, they're like, oh no, our first availability is in 2 weeks from now. It's like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go pick this other one that has online availability. And boom, when you make it available, that sparks action on behalf of your customer, right? This is how it's applicable in business. Stay top of mind, stay available, because sometimes availability can be your biggest bottleneck. Spark number 11, avoiding pain, right? We typically avoid things that hurt us, right? If you're a kid and you touch a hot stove once, you probably are never going to do it again because it hurts. You learn your lesson, right? When companies solve these problems clearly and how their product might prevent future issues or inconveniences, people buy that. People want that. They really do. And think about it. That's going to be really, really helpful for how you think about solving a problem. Okay. Spark number 12, curiosity, right? You want to know more. If you see a wrapped gift, you're just dying to figure out like what's inside that gift, right? And this is why business, they create headlines, right? They create some sort of mystery and makes you want to find out more. That's why you have cliffhangers, because emotionally we get invested and we want to find out what's next, what's in that box, what are they up to, right? People think about this stuff all the time. It's so, so interesting, but it works. It's proven time and time again. Time and time again, it's proven. Okay. So think about it. It's going to be a good one. All right. Let's talk about the next one, novelty. Spark number 13. When there is a new version of a car, of an iPhone, right? Why does the iPhone keep coming with a brand new model every single year? But then they just improve the camera a little bit. It's a little bit faster, has a little bit more memory. But they sell millions of these iPhones every single year just because it's new. People love new things, right? Getting a brand new toy excites you probably more than the one you've had forever, right? It'll excite you at least temporarily. It might become your new favorite toy, but it might not. But it will at least excite you. Think about your kid when your kid gets a new toy, they get really excited. They might wake up the next morning running out of bed just to play with a new toy. I know I felt that way as a kid. So that's why companies, right? They release new updated products. They refresh the packaging. They innovate so that the customers that want the latest and greatest, they buy. All right. Spark number 14, FOMO, fear of missing out. People worry about missing out all the time, right? If all your friends go to a party and you want to go but you didn't get a ticket, you're going to feel left out too, right? People business they talk about, hey, limited seats available, right? It's a one-time event. They motivate those quick decisions, motivate you because they want they want certainty. If they can force an action faster, then the business gets additional certainty. All right. Spark number 15, simplicity. Think about this at the highest level. A confused mind does not trust you, does not buy from you. Stop making up long words to make thinking it might make you sound smarter. And we were probably all guilty for this, right? In high school and college, we had to write a 20-page paper, 50-page paper, and we had to BS our way through it. It's not it was such a terrible, terrible habit to form. That's probably the one thing I disagreed most with school. They kept teaching us make it longer, make it more detailed. And when in the real world, you want it to be way more simple, right? If your homework seemed easy, you would probably do it quicker. But it's so long. I probably shouldn't say that on the camera, but hey, this is how my kids know I love them because I'm being real, I'm being honest, and honestly, one day you're gonna have a difficult decision with your kids, and you can decide how you want to raise them. Sometimes there are skills that you learn in school that might not be applicable in real life, and that's okay. So, as a company, simplify your process. Make it easy to order. Make it easy for people to deal with you. You make it so hard, the more steps you add in there, it's just going to increase friction, right? Why do you think Amazon made a one click checkout button? Because they know how much money they lose by making people click multiple screens and select everything. Do you think they did it to make it easy? They know they lose so much business when there's so many clicks. That's why they created it. They're not a dummy. So you don't want to be that dummy either. Stop thinking you are smarter than one of the most valuable companies right now in the whole world. All right. Spark number 16. Genuine urgency. Genuine, right? People might act faster if they see if something seems immediate, right? If something's ending in 5 minutes, you're probably gonna run quicker to whatever or finish whatever you need to do, right? If recess ends in 5 minutes, you're probably wow, let's play one more game or let's run one more play for basketball or whatever it is, right? Or throw the ball faster if you're playing baseball. Throw the ball faster or if you're playing kickball. Who cares? Now, genuine urgency, again, I stress journey because sometimes you go to these websites and they say, "Oh, 5 minutes for this digital product," and or it's gone forever. You're like, it's not going to be gone forever. It's a digital product. It's going to be on a server forever. Don't BS people because that will leave a very, very sour taste in the mouth. Okay, but hey, you might say, "Hey, today is Friday, April 25th, and that's why we're having the sale." Okay, let's if you have a reason, people at least believe the reason. It doesn't matter if it's a bad reason, as long as you have a reason that people are trustworthy of that, right? We talk about the example if you were to cut people in line and just say, "Hey, I'm really sorry for cutting in line. I just had a really bad day." It could be something silly like that. But all of a sudden, if you say that, the amount of people that's mad at you for cutting the line decreases dramatically. Doesn't even have to be a good excuse. Wild. So give them a reason. Give people a reason to believe you. That's the spark. All right. Spark number 17, avoiding losses. Take a drink of water. Some folks, depending on their personalities, they are more afraid of losing things than we might enjoy gaining them. Like losing your favorite toy probably bothers you more than finding a new one. Again, if you're a kid, right, you have a favorite stuffed animal, you lose that stuffed animal, and your parents offer you like another stuffed animal, it's not gonna be the same. It won't smell the same. It won't feel the same. Weird, right? Weird. So, well, opposite, right? Some people like novelty, but in this scenario, that loss aversion spark affects that person more, right? So be very mindful about helping people understand, like, hey, what they might lose if they don't take immediate action. A great example is this: is you have an event, right, where you're getting all these people in a room, and if people don't get in that room, they're gonna miss out on that. They will lose out because it's a one-time event. Be very thoughtful about this. All right. Spark number 18, certainty, right? People like being certain. It's really interesting, right? And you can see this in all aspects of your life, right? If you can get a guarantee of something happening for you, wouldn't you do it, right? And this is so interesting because people like to be sure about things. If you have a teacher that clearly explains the assignment, that clearly explains how to solve the problem, you're gonna feel really good doing it, right? When in business, when you explain the products, the features, the benefits, the procedures, that helps people feel more informed in the decision. You're not selling them anything. Be their advisor. Help them make the right decision that's best for them, because that will spark them to trust you. All right. Spark number 19, stories, storytelling. People remember stories much better than being told something. If you're ever trying to convince someone something, don't tell them, go work out. That I realized that never worked. But depending on the person, you might say, hey, man, my grandmother, she just kept eating so much sugary food, and then she just had diabetes, and before she died, she had a really horrible death where she blah 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 blah. I'm making this up. But that story might inspire someone to make a change. That might spark them to do something instead of you just telling go work out. Because honestly, that's never worked out for me, even for the people that I love, for the families I care about. That has never worked. Learn how to tell stories, learn to draw the lesson out from that story so that they can take that story, that lesson, and bring it in and internalize it. And guess what? The best influencers, the best people that care about other people, when the other person takes change and internalizes what they need to do to take better care of their health, build more wealth, create a life of fulfillment. Don't take credit. Just let them know that it came from within. Could you have supported them? Yeah, but you don't need credit. The point is, you help someone become a better version of themselves. And I hope that's one of the big ones that my kids can learn and take away. You don't need credit. Credit's for your own ego. Impact is what you're after. And sometimes being able to impact other families, other children, you don't need credit. You will get fulfillment. I promise you that. All right. Spark number 20, exclusivity. Exclusivity. This is why you have VIPs, right? People want things that not everyone else can have. Getting invited to a special event, getting invited to a special dinner outing at a top level event. Like there's a dinner for the top speakers at an event. Wow, right? That makes you feel special. That sparks you to buy. That's why businesses they offer clubs, memberships, VIPs, right? Limited editions to make other folks feel unique. Happens all the time. Think about how that applies to you. Spark 21. Honesty, transparency. When you are honest, when you are transparent, it helps people trust you a lot more. A lot more. If a friend tells you the truth, you trust them more. Businesses gain loyal customers when they are open about the products, their policies, right? The crazy thing is sometimes when I help people, they're like, hey, what's in it for him? That's the first thing they ask because people are very, very, very skeptical. So think it through. That's all I say. Think it through. Let's keep going. Spark number 22, visual appeal, sexiness, right? Design. We like attractive, colorful things, right? This is why packaging matters so much for even candy, right? You don't want a boring candy wrapper. It needs to look fun. That's why you got to invest in good design, packaging. And I'm not the most creative person now, but nowadays you can have Canva, you can have ChatGPT, you can have all these image generators. They can create something really unique, really eye catching that's going to attract your customers' attention. Learn these tools. You no longer have to be the most creative person in the world to be the best designer. You can probably come up with 3, 5 different options for packaging right now, today. It blows my mind how advanced the tools are nowadays. Spark number 23, trust, reliability. We prefer things we can trust, right? If your service, your product, right? If your bike always works, you're going to pick that one, right? Very similar. It's like, oh, do I want to ride this new bike today? This bike has always been with me, so I'm going to use it. That's how I think about it as a kid. I know what I'm getting with that person. The same thing for companies, right? When you're reliable, when you deliver consistent quality, you keep your promises, that sparks people to stay with you, especially if there's ever a cancellation coming up. Spark 24. This might be really obvious, but just emotions, right? A sad movie will make you cry. Or think about the last really good movie you had where you just felt like you were on the edge of your seat. You remember those ones. Or the ones that have a plot twist that just bends your mind. You remember those. You talk about those. So the stronger emotional connection that you can have with your ads, your messages, how you connect with your customers, your audience, your community, make it authentic because people can see through BS and authentic messages really easily. Spend that time. Be authentic, but don't be afraid to be a little vulnerable so that people know you're human. Sometimes we just forget about how important human connection is. All right. As we go into this world of AI and machine learning, I think human connection is more important than ever. So learn those skills, learn how to talk, learn how to communicate better, especially in person. Spark 25, anticipation. I have you ever booked a vacation and you were really looking forward to it? That's what I think of, right? Or maybe for a kid, it's hey, how many more days until your birthday party? You're counting, like you build anticipation. So you can see that in like Apple. They used to build anticipation for the new iPhone. Even though usually it's a better camera, a better battery life, and faster phone. It's kind of the same thing, but they build anticipation. They keep leaking things, right? So people keep talking about it, keep putting it in the press. It's in events, it's in the news. That makes people feel eager. So that's why a lot of folks tell about like, hey, I'm getting ready to launch a product. What it is. But also, I think this is a great lesson in of itself. If your first draft, your first product, your first video that you record to make content, as an example, is a perfect draft, then that means you waited way too long to start. Think about that. You waited way too long to start if your first draft is not crap. If you think like, oh, I'm gonna do this when this happens, that's it's not good. It's too late. You waited way too long. Way too long. Okay, let's keep going. I know Friday night, right? I'm talking about 39 sparks. Okay, let's keep going. Spark 26. Again, I'm renaming some of these, right? But I'm gonna call this a common enemy. When you talk about, hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, it's kind of like that, right? When you have a common villain that you unite towards, right? Or unite against. Sometimes it's a video game. Sometimes you're watching a cartoon and you always think about like, oh, this person in this cartoon, that's the rival, right? That bonds people, it brings together because then you all cheer for the same team. You feel united. And that's how some businesses rally around identifying a common problem or competitor, right? That creates that unity, that loyalty. So you find your tribe because you cannot serve everybody in the world. If you try to serve everybody, you end up serving nobody. That's a common time, it's a common phrase. So think about it. Be very careful. Spark number 27, status. Status. People care about the image status, right? Sometimes why do people buy Lamborghinis? Because it's an emotional thing. Does anyone ever need a car expensive? No, but it's about, hey, how do they feel when they're driving that car, right? It's very important. If you're in sports and you get picked first, that makes you probably feel good if you're the first pick in kickball. So when you're able to create products that can boost how customers, whether it's their social standing or offering some prestigious program, that sparks people to invest in that product, right? You're very thoughtful about it. Okay. Spark number 28, surprises, right? Whenever you get an unexpected treat, that makes you really happy. So I saw this in an email from Alex Hormozy today, where he talked a lot about the 2 for 1, right? Hey, thank you so much for being such a great customer. I got some swags. Do you want the free hoodie or do you want the free water bottle? Right? You give them a choice, and then they think they're going to. You know what? You're a really good guy. I'm gonna give you both. Boom! Surprise! Right? They want to commit to just one, and then you ended up giving them and you end up over delivering on expectations. Interesting, right? Think about it. If you're a kid and you your parents pack your lunch for you, and one day they throw in a little something extra that's like your favorite snack or favorite food or favorite drink or favorite juice, that makes you happy. Simple things in life makes you really happy and loved. So as a business, why would you not surprise your customers with bonuses, freebies, thank you notes? Create the joy, create that loyalty, create that relationship. And honestly, it's just a good, kind human thing to do. Do it. All right. Spark 29, personalization. People love things made just for us, right? When your name was on the cupcake, it makes it special. I remember I had a birthday vacation where I went to the front desk and they laid out the front of the rocks where it said with rocks under the lake, "Happy birthday, Tina." Wow, that was freaking dope. That was cool. So simple, but so cool. So if you can personalize your emails, or in a world where you see get so many automated emails and messages, learn to stand out. Sometimes not trying to scale everything creates much more lifelong retention. Think about it. Make it about them. Say the word you a lot more when you talk. Stop saying the word I. Spark 30, relatability. We connect more easily with people who seem similar to us, right? Sometimes it's called based on the story, based on where they came from, based on where they were born, based on where they were raised, doesn't matter, right? When you meet someone who loves your favorite game or your favorite TV show, you guys become friends, right? Look for the me too moments, right? Where you say, oh, give them, when you talk to folks, give them two, three, four threads so that they can pull on, right? When you ask them, hey, what kind of exciting things you got going on? Or what are you learning? Right? That gives people an opportunity to relate to you. This is such important. I, as parents, I think the most important skill right now is teaching my kids how to make friends. Because how often do we see out in the world? Sometimes you go out to dinners. I'm not saying this is a bad thing or necessarily. Sometimes you see folks just on their screens all the time. When's the last time you walk? I was driving by a college today, and 3 out of 4 people were all on their AirPods, on their phone, looking down at the phone like they're too busy to just look up and just smile at somebody. How can anyone even start to relate to you if all the walls are up? So use those stories, help become relatable because I think that human connection is so important. All right. Spark 31, repetition. I think Tai Lopez talks about how you got to say something 9 times to get into someone's head, right? The first 3 times is just to get through the skull. The next 3 times is get through the front conscious mind so that they can at least analyze or think about what you're doing. But it probably takes another 3 times for it to be embedded in them so that they associate you with that message, that product, right? Your slogan, your jingle, doesn't matter what it is. As a kid, I mean, you have to practice spelling words every day, right? Until you master how to spell them correctly. And you probably have to spell them a couple of times before you remember them, right? Same concept for repetition. It applies to your life every single day. Spark 32. Ease and convenience. We pick things that are easy to do, right? Honestly, I don't know why all shoes are not Velcros. So much easier than shoelaces. Just my opinion, right? That applies for kids. But when you're able to provide those convenient solutions, fast delivery, like simple checkout, that's how Amazon won, right? They spent so much money on logistics just to figure out how on earth does someone click a button on a computer and all of a sudden a product shows up to their house in less than a day, sometimes the same day. It's wild. I don't If you said that 50 or even 100 years ago, that's like magic. People would say, "What are you talking about? That's crazy." But now we take it for granted. Why do you think they're so successful? Oh, this is so good. I love kind of just thinking about all the things that are relevant in my life. Okay. All right. Spark number 33, nostalgia. Happy memories make us feel good, right? Your old favorite stuffed animal probably makes you smile, right? A picture makes you smile. That's why pictures sell so well, especially with memorabilia. Companies that market products based on that reminds people of like happier, simpler times. Why do you think people advertise when they advertise, say, pharmaceutical products, right? For back pain or migraines, they show pictures of videos of older folks typically playing with their grandkids or their own kids because they want to remind you of the happier times, and that's what they're trying to give you because they can't just sh- putting a little piece of pill on a commercial doesn't do anything. But this is why they want to spark you asking your doctor about the medication. Because if you are not tempted at the very minimum to get back to those happier, simpler, pain free times, then you would never even suggest that to your doctor to request a specific medication. Interesting, right? There's these triggers that are just so in my face now because of I had this framework to understand what those sparks are, to understand why do they apply in advertisements. Next time you see advertisements, ads, just break it down. Try to understand what they're doing. All right. Spark 34 results. We believe things we see results from, right? If you see someone studying for a test in school and they get really good grades because they use index cards all the time, then you might say, "Hey, let me try using index cards." Right? I've seen people use flashcards. Does that help you memorize better? I don't know. But you see someone else doing it, you're like, "Hey, let me give that a try." Same thing for a business. If you're able to demonstrate for someone what you can do, let's say you have a marketing agency and you say, "Hey, let me go through your YouTube videos. Hey, oh, why is your title that way? It's terrible. Why is your YouTube thumbnail like that? Okay, the first 30 seconds of your video does not confirm the thumbnail. I'm done. I'm not watching anymore." Do you see how much people drop off in the first 30 seconds of a YouTube video? It's insane. But when you prove that to someone that you know what you're looking at, what you're doing, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this guy knows what we're doing. Let's sign them up." Just like that. Okay. Let's go to Spark 35. I'm going through my notes. All right, almost there. Wow, I've been going live for 40 minutes. This is a really long live. I really want to do this all at once. So I put down all my notes here and we're just on a roll. I just wanted to have it all in one place because I saw one comment from yesterday talked about, "Hey, where's the rest?" So I know I changed the wording a little bit. All right, it's not going to be the exact same thing. I'm calling it sparks, not triggers, because I am internalizing what I'm learning. All right, so please forgive me if the wording or things sound alike, but I'm also doing it for our kids. I need to figure out how to explain this in a simple manner so that they can absorb it. Because if our kids can't learn this stuff, then they can't apply it. And sometimes it's not worth it overcomplicating things or coming up with fancy words so I can feel smarter, but doesn't help anybody. All right. Spark 35. People love competing, right? Competition. My daughter loves uh, getting into the car faster than her grandma. It's the best competition. It's the cutest thing in the world. But if I were to say, "Hey, if I ever want my daughter to get in a car faster," I was like, "Hey, don't let grandma be number one. She's going to beat you." And she runs to the car. These competitive traits are right in ourselves. So I believe in competitive spirit because I think that brings out the best in all of us. Healthy competition is good, right? That's why when you're in business, like think about your video games. Sometimes they would say, "Oh, this is the level one person," and you'll have someone who wants to be level one in the game in the entire world. Wow, crazy, right? So contests, they engage customers more than you know. All right. Now, Spark 36, we talked about this tribalism, the urgency to belong, right? We all want to belong with somebody, right? This is why when you join the school, like you want to see, hey, when these classmates or this group forms a group, you kind of want to be part of it because people love being part of something. They want belonging part of something, belong part of a mission, a group, a company, an organization that believes in their mission. It's so important. Create the sense of belonging, please, for whatever you do. It'll help the good people stick around a lot longer. And I believe that this life is about the relationships that you create and you build and the impact you have on them. It's the most beautiful thing to have great relationships. It's so fun. It's so rewarding. I think this. I was recording a podcast today with a guest named Terry, and it was such a great reminder that this podcast, the affordable housing podcast, has allowed me to connect with some of the best people in the world. Not just in terms of intelligence, but they have great hearts. They don't gatekeep. They share all this information with everybody and just lays it out there. I'm so grateful for those folks. I'm so grateful for all of you that are listening to this right now and you're finding value. I appreciate you all so much. Please, again, if there are better analogies that you think that I can incorporate, leave them down below. And again, this is probably going to go more than 39 sparks, to be honest with you. I'm just going to keep adding to this, but I thought these were pretty good ones to start out with, because I think I'm going to have my own version of this for my own kids, and you are probably going to have this own version for your own kids, right? My way is not the right way necessarily for everybody, and most likely isn't. And you will find better analogies because you're listening to this right now. You're probably thinking like, ah, Ken, that was a silly analogy. Why would you use that one? So go for it. All right. Fewer decisions. Spark 38. Don't give people 20 options. Usually, sometimes people say, hey, don't even give them more than one call to action, because if you give them one more than one call to action, people don't take action. It blows my mind. I don't think like that, but apparently that's how the masses are. But then you can have a choice. Maybe you're not trying to be popular with the masses. Maybe success to you is attracting the people that can decide between two choices. Because I like decisive people. If someone can't choose which call to action is the best for them, I mean, maybe I don't want them in my life. Think about it. You get to decide who you want to work with, who you want to serve, and you don't have to serve everybody. So if you're chasing influence, you're chasing followers, you're chasing a vanity metric, that might matter to you. But if you're prioritizing the people that you want to hang out with, that you want to spend your time wisely with, that you would say, hey, I'm okay if my kids hang around these people because I know that they're smart, they're intelligent, they're decisive, and they're not that simple minded where they can only take action if they have one call to action. Again, your choice, your choice. But there's going to be so many gurus out there to tell you, like, this is the way, only one call to action. Yeah, that might be true if you're trying to engage a million people at once, but maybe you don't want to do that. And it's okay to pick your own path. Please pick your own path. Please, please, please pick your own path. Everybody's journey is going to be different. All right. Spark 39, future pacing. When you're able to visualize your future in a positive manner, hopefully, that will tend to motivate you, right? If you can imagine scoring a goal, hitting the winning shot in a basketball game, right? It's probably going to motivate you to practice more. So this is why it's good to spend the time. Like yesterday, we did a live talking about imagining the best case scenario 80% of the time. And I literally mean sometimes you have to imagine it, feel it, close your eyes. What's it like when you're that person? Because your brain will do something really interesting. It will start moving your body to take the actions that moves you closer to that vision. It's so interesting, but so important. All right. So this was it. I'm gonna go through my notes. I'm gonna re-listen to everything at once, but I kind of try to boil it down to 39 sparks. I know that there are things that I could have reworded or used differently in terms, but I wanted to use it in a way that a fifth grader could understand, right? Using words like narcissism. A fifth grader ain't gonna know what narcissism is, right? They know that, hey, when you use the word you a lot more, okay, it makes other people feel heard. So that's what I'm trying to balance. I can use the word narcissism, Machiavellian, like all these fancy words, but it doesn't help my kids. So that's why I'm not explaining it that way. So that's why I call it 39 sparks. A trigger? I don't want to use the word trigger for my kids. Spark. That seems a lot more bright. So hey, thank you so much for tuning into live. This has been a 49-minute live. I think it's been a really long time since I ever did a live over 30 minutes, but I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much. Today, after recording the podcast, I just felt reinvigorated again every single time I record one of these podcast episodes. And I'm so grateful for everybody. I'm so grateful for all of you that have supported the live, that supported the Affordable Housing Podcast. Without people like you, I would have never had the home I grew up in. And I can't say that enough. And I can't thank you all enough for caring to give me your time, because that's the one thing we can never get back. And I will always try to improve myself so that I can be worthy of every minute that you spend with me. People remember what you do for their kids. So that's why I do it. Because this is why I believe we're all here for. We're just trying to make a better world for our kids and give them an outlet so that if they choose housing is how they want to help people, then we are going to prepare them with the know how on how to do that through the Affordable Housing Podcast. So, hey, I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for the time today. Have an amazing Friday. Hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends today. I know it's like 9:30 my time at night, but we just spent 50 minutes together, and I would do it again. I have no regrets. And if my family's listening to this one day in the future, I love you so much. I hope this helps you. And I'm sorry if some of the analogies were corny. All right, have an amazing night. I'll see y'all tomorrow.